This is fun. Why would you ban them? That makes no sense to me.
We're at war with that region, and we did the same thing in World War II.
Islam?
Actually, we are.
No, we're not. You're okay. Okay, I'm done. We're not at war with. I'm not at war with Islam personally.
We're at war with radical jihadism, which is Islam.
I'm done. Yeah.
But yet you still say we're at a war with Islam?
Are we not at a war?
That is the most ignorant, stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Are we not at a war with radical jihadism?
Okay, but are they not at a war with radical Christianity, okay?
Where are we at war with radical Christianity?
Really?
No, really, I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Actually, explain to me.
Just...
Where are we at war with radical Christians?
Yeah, they're trying to target us for no reason.
Where are the radical Christianity war? Where is that happening?
The people in power. The people in power want to make us turn on each other. That's exactly why you're trying to do this.
These are radical Christians?
Feelings from
I just
people.
want to know about this radical Christian war that's going on. I haven't heard of it.
Ask other countries. That's all I gotta say.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, I actually lived in the Middle East for 2 years as a child.
That's really good. Now, if you could reply with the proper, like assalamu
Oh, you see, I had a... Yeah,
alaikum
no.
assalam.
Yeah, not a fan.
Have a good day.
Growing up there as a young girl, I wasn't a big fan of like having to cover myself all the time. You know, the actual rape culture that goes on in the Middle East, and throwing gays off of buildings and such. I wasn't a big fan of that. Being an American over there.
Neither am I, but you don't think Donald Trump is after the same policies?
I don't think he wants to throw gays off of buildings. No.
No, but he's openly against them in radical form.
Open against what?
Gay people, Islamic people, black people, Mexican people. He's all about the hate.
What did he do to gay people?
He's openly slandered a bunch of...
What did he say? I don't know. I would like to know about this. I haven't heard this.
You haven't heard anything about...
I haven't heard him say bad things about gays, no.
Okay. Well, look at stuff from the 1990s.
I don't know if you can even really compare saying a few things to really throwing them off of buildings either.
You're right. You're right. Sticks and stones will not break bones, but words do hurt.
Yeah, I think I'd rather hear a few nasty words than be thrown off the building.
Me too. And that's where we're all the same on a human level.
Don't think it's quite a valid comparison, is my point.
Okay. Well, that's different. Have a good day.
Would you consider yourself a feminist?
No, Harry, I would not, because I don't believe... Well, I believe in equality, but I don't believe in feminism because I believe that that's not about equality.
What's the biggest lie told by third-wave feminists
Well,
that you haven't mentioned already?
That I haven't mentioned already.
Yes.
They have lied about... Well, the main really important ones are the ones that I've already mentioned, but they often use singular cases of rape to sort of get out the word of, oh, we need awareness for this thing, so they lie about it. But surely if they're lying about it to get awareness, that's getting awareness of the fact that sometimes people lie. Any more questions?
So, originally, feminism was created because there was an imbalance.
Yeah.
And originally, it was the imbalance between men and women. The idea now is not feminism being an imbalance of gender, but being equality of all. You talk a lot about men versus women. But what about people who call themselves transgender? What about people that perhaps don't identify with a gender at all?
In relation to what?
How they should be perceived by society? Do they not count in the idea of feminism?
Well, no, because feminism, if you look up the definition, which if you ask a feminist, they'll always refer you to, is about the push for women's rights and equality between men and women.
If I call myself a feminist, I wouldn't say that I battle for the rights of women. I would say I battle for the rights of equality. So when we talk about the shift of language and definitions, is it not fair to say that definitions shift and change depending on the need within society?
Well, just because you say you are something doesn't mean that that's what the movement is about. So I could say that I'm a radical jihadist doesn't mean that I'm a radical jihadist. Well, because you can say that you're something, but the movement doesn't necessarily represent that. If you say that you're about equality for all, then most of feminism isn't about equality for all. It's about equality between men and women. That's what modern feminism is about. For example, with the wage gap, they haven't. When they give you the wage gap statistics, 77 cents to the dollar, they don't mention other people who may not identify with the gender or people who identify themselves as trans. So that's the main thing that I'm fighting.
Okay. So I would say that there is equally a disparity between class systems. There is, so if you are born into a certain class of family, your income equates to a certain amount. And that's purely with how you're born, which is a very similar thing to do with gender. Do you think that that is as much of an issue, if not more so, or less so, than gender inequality?
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about gender inequality and how it's misrepresented by feminism because they're saying that they're for gender equality when they're actually not.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on inequality in general, including the class system?
Well, ideally, I would like to eradicate all inequalities, but I'm not going to do that by calling myself a feminist.
One of the points you made was that there is a rape culture in other parts of the world. So if you called yourself a feminism because you were fighting for the rights of those people in those parts of the world, is that such a bad thing?
Well, no, it's not, but once again, you can say that you can call yourself a feminist because you believe in that, but that's not what modern feminism is generally about.
Why not? Why hasn't that changed?
What do you mean? Why hasn't?
Why do you think that the premise of feminism hasn't changed? It should have. Why do you think it hasn't?
Well, because I think people still believe that there are imbalances because statistics are misrepresented. For example, the wage gap.
And why is that?
Well, because people believe that as they've been oppressed in the past, they should have some status over other people in the future. So you sort of see that with people saying, I've actually heard a lot of people say, yeah, because I'm a feminist because women have been oppressed for hundreds of years. If they've been oppressed for hundreds of years, why do you need to be a feminist now? You can say that you're aware of those things, but you don't need to carry on campaigning for the same things.
So, in your opinion then, men and women are currently equal?
Yes, in the broader sense, in the Western culture. If you look elsewhere, then no.
Just to give you one more example, paternity and maternity pay are massively different. Do you think that's fair?
In what way are they different?
Men get two paid weeks. Women can have up to 6 months. Now I get that the woman's had the baby, but that doesn't mean that the man doesn't want to be at home with their child.
No, but broader speaking, that's generally the case.
Yeah, but what do you think about that example?
Well, that example, broader speaking, men generally would rather stay at work.
Oh no. Boy, hit.
Sexism.
Triggered.
Yes, sir.
Paternity and maternity leave are now the same.
Are they?
Been recently changed, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Interesting comment at the end though.
Oh, what's this?
One more.
You said earlier in your speech that rape culture was caused mainly by feminism and could be caused by social standards.
Well, there isn't one. There isn't a rape culture. Rapists are put in jail, and even if they're falsely accused of rape, their lives are completely ruined. If that's not a rape culture. If it's a rape culture, if rape was glorified.
I think the idea of rape culture is that it's not glorified, it's more so normalised throughout like video games and things. I think Miss gave the example of in one video game you can make your character rape a woman.
You can't though. Rape is frowned upon. You can't make that. That is a falsehood. You can't do that in that game. You can't unless you specifically install something that you got from the internet while searching for that. You can't do that in that game.
Any other questions? Thank you, Harry.
Yes!